and specifically with monotasking. Like I do my best to not multitask in any sense anymore. So like when I'm cooking food, when I'm literally chopping food, I cut off the podcast. I don't want to listen to the podcast. I want to just do what I'm doing and do it to the best of my ability. And the mindfulness, it just allows me to like just feel and react and know what is doing good for me and what's not.
Oh, that's a big one. I really struggle with that. And I think it does come from the self-help space. Just from background for the audience, like I was obsessed with self-help and you were too. So reading every book, all your social media feeds are self-help. And I think compared to some other social media feeds, like if they were all political or all like, it's a great space to be in, but I was just so like optimize that I ran into two problems. One is like, what is this for? If everything I wanted was given to me right now, the money, the dreams, the possessions, like would I be happier? Would I enjoy this lifestyle? So that was the first one. But the second one was when you think in that terms of optimize, you end up being the person who's cooking while listening to a podcast. And then that's fine to cook and listen to a podcast, but then you're driving and you're listening to a podcast and then an audiobook and then reading and then doing this and this and this and this. And it actually destroys your focus. It makes you a worse worker. At least for me, it's made me a much worse worker as I find myself as a podcaster, I like to review my game footage. I like to watch the podcast back. And when I sit to watch them back, I can't. Because if I'm sitting there just to watch the podcast, it's not what I've ever done. I've always listened to podcasts while driving and listen. So I'm trying to critique myself and learn and get better. But I'm watching my own stuff and I'm just freaking...
Yeah.
I need to, let me do this while watching. Let me do this while watching. And then if you're doing something while watching, you can't be a good critique. And I've realized that monotasking is something I really, really struggle with. And so it's interesting to hear you point that out. And I haven't even heard a word for that, but the monotasking of just being present. I think another benefit of that too, as many people have heard this quote, but if you think about the past, you get depressed. If you think about the future, you get anxious. If you want to be happy, live in the present. And what you're doing when you're multitasking or when you're so obsessive about success or a goal is you just live in the future. It's funny because in high school, I was a very depressed kid. And I was depressed for dumb reasons. Like, oh, this girl didn't like me, or, oh, I was weird, or I was the smallest kid on the football team. I'd think about all these things in the past. And then I turned my life around by kind of how you turn your life around, going into all these self-help spaces and like diving into mentors and people. And I first of all, I gained pride. I gained ego. I thought I was better than people, which is terrible. But second of all, I just switched one problem for the other, which was I went from depression to being anxious because my ideal life existed entirely in the future. I wanted 1 million subscribers. I wanted my dream car, my dream house. And so if all the things you ever think about are in the future, then you'll never have them. And all anxiety is the tension of what you want and what you can't, and not having it. And so that's why I love the idea of monotasking, because even if you were a millionaire and you have your dream car, dream house, what are you going to do? You're probably going to cook your meal. You're probably, you can hire a private chef, but you're going to want to just enjoy the tasks you're doing anyway. So why wait to the future to be mindful and enjoy the present? And
dude, that's so real, man. Monotasking, I keep forgetting it, but I need to give credit to that specific thing that helped me step away from my last job. Like, there's 3 things for sure. It's one, surrounding myself with creative individuals, very mindful, conscious individuals, monotasking, and then meditation. Like, it was just like those 3 things like made me realize that everybody in this world has this greatness, has this uniqueness, this like almost divinity within them. You just have to listen to it, and you have to slow down and like let's see what's inside. And I'd never viewed myself as a creative individual my whole life. I never did. And now I know there's something in here. I don't know exactly what it's going to turn into, but I know there is something in here because I've just found this deeper connection to myself.